Sponsored by EA. Hey everyone, it's AlluringSimmer here, and if you're new here, then welcome to Planet Allura, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. Today, we are making Trix, 3 witches who are the villains in the Winx Club series. Before we get into today's video, I just want to share that I am part of the EA Creator Program, and you can use my code AlluringSimmer when purchasing Sims 4 DLC, or visit my website at AlluringSimmer.com/creator to see other eligible EA titles that you can use my code AlluringSimmer for when making purchases on the EA app. If you've used my code already, then I appreciate you so much because it really does help support me as a content creator, and I hope you all know how much it means to me when you support me in this way. Some other ways you can help support my channel are by subscribing to my Patreon, Tulip tier, or my Twitch channel. But honestly, one of the best ways that you can help support me is just by watching my videos, subscribing, liking, leaving a comment, because that helps push my videos out in the algorithm and helps me get closer to my goal of the YouTube Partner Program. And last but not least, if you didn't already know, I have a sim challenge that you all can participate in to celebrate the addition of fairies in The Sims 4. It honestly doesn't require you to have the new pack in order to participate, but if you do have it, it may help you with creating your look or your build. I currently have the hashtag Alluring Fairy Shell, where you can download the shell on my gallery. Gallery ID is AlluringSimmer, and make any fairy themed build, or you can use the hashtag Alluring Fairy CAS and upload a fairy sim you've created. If you want to do the fairy themed build, all the rules are in the description on the gallery, and I may choose your sim to add to the world during my Winx Let's Play, or I may add a build you've created to my Let's Play. So consider to participate if you want to see either your sim or your build potentially in my game. And also stay tuned, because this week I'll be sharing the fairy that I created for the challenge, and I will be adding into the world for our Winx Let's Play. Now, as we get into this creative sim, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my Winx playlist. I have dedicated playlists for the builds and the creative sims that I've made for all the Winx fairies, and I'll be creating a new playlist for all the other Winx Club characters we will recreate for our Winx Let's Play. When recreating all of their looks, their first 2 outfits are directly inspired by their outfits in the show, so their everyday and their formal outfit, but the rest of the outfits were simply following their color palette and what I thought looked cute. Going back into it before the Let's Play actually starts, I may make changes to some of their outfits, I may add new outfits as well, and I also want to use more looks inspired by this show. But today we have already started with Miss Princess Icy. She is the Witch of Ice, and she's the opposite to Bloom in terms of personality and the fact that she has ice-related powers in contrast to Bloom's fire-related powers. She's cold not only in her abilities, but in the fact that she is cruel to others. She's rude to people who do not agree with her, and she has a very personal problem with both Stella and Bloom. She's not even kind to the other Trix girls that are within her trio. Some basic facts about her is that her magical element is ice, her weakness is her vanity and being self-absorbed, and her favorite color is ice blue. Her magic is related to ice and snow and is icy blue, periwinkle, and white, and later on she also gains a neon green aura to her magical abilities. Something to note is when we get into the gameplay with the Trix girls, the Winx girls, and the Winx girls partners, I will be giving the Winx boyfriends as well as the Trix girls spellcaster abilities, so I'll be going in and making them spellcasters. And I think with Trix I will focus on magical abilities that they can use without the wands, because I think they can do that if I'm not mistaken. And then for the specialists or the Winx boyfriends, I'll try and do abilities and stuff that require them to use the wand when doing their magic. And to continue talking about Miss Princess Icy here, even the evil are not all that bad. Icy is intelligent, charismatic, and brave, and she's also a good leader of the Trix group. She's had some redeeming qualities throughout the show, and I hope to reflect some of those in the Let's Play. When creating her main looks that you see right now, I had a lot of trouble with deciding the top because I wanted to find something that could remain cohesive amongst all of their looks. So I needed to find an outfit that had all of their color swatches and something that also matched the style from the show, because I really wanted these 2 specific looks to be accurate. I ended up choosing a peplum top, which you'll see later on, and for her other outfits, I feel like her icy personality and her being the leader was just giving me baddie vibes. boobs, both literally and figuratively, and I wanted to give her the looks that like really made her stand out in the group. And when it comes to the traits that I added for all of the Trix girls, I actually just gave them all the same traits and all the same aspiration. I will be going in to like change their likes, dislikes, you know, turn ons, turn offs, all that stuff to make them a bit more distinct. And I also might change, you know, one of each of their traits just so that they have something that makes them a little bit different from each other. In terms of their personalities, they're all very similar, so I feel like these traits do apply to all of them, but I don't want them to end up acting exactly the same all the time. And I think my favorite part about making not just like the Trix girls but also the Winx girls as well is just the fact that because they're like cartoon characters, like they all have like a distinct color palette and style that usually stays the same throughout the show. Like even if their outfits are changing, like their color palette usually does not change. So it was really fun to just find, you know, different outfits that all was within the same color scheme and applying that for all of their different looks. And now we are going to move in to our next Trix girly. So the next girl that I created was Stormy. Stormy is the youngest of the Trix girls, the trio of witches, and she's also the most aggressive and confident Trix member. She's hot-headed and she has the power of storms. She tends to hold grudges, and she also uses her powers like very sporadically without much thought of the consequences. She is someone who lashes out very often, and even like the smallest minor inconveniences can cause her to go on a rampage. Another fun fact that I feel like I alluded to earlier, but I don't know if I outright mentioned yet, is the fact that these three girls are sisters. So that kind of plays a role in their dynamic with each other. They tend to treat Stormy obviously like the kid sister, maybe don't take her as seriously, and Icy loves to torment her little sister. However, Stormy doesn't just take that on the chin. She makes sure to harass her older sisters as well, and that just plays into their relationship dynamic with each other. A few fun facts about Stormy is that she uses disruptive spells. Her magical element is her ability to harness storms, and her favorite color is dark red, and her weakness is that she is impulsive. She is able to use her magic to create wind, lightning, and blizzards. She can also create small natural disasters. She can create earthquakes, and her power allows her to control storms in many different ways. And she seems to have more of a personal problem with Musa from the Winx Club, as reflected in a fight/battle that she has with Musa during the show. Stormy's powers actually grow stronger throughout the course of the show, and she's able to create like more focused lightning bolts, and she's also able to tie up her enemies with an electrical force field. So you can see how their magical powers change throughout the show as well as they develop, you know, the skills to improve them. And something that I'd like to ask, you know, to kind of see if you guys are interested in this, would you guys like me to create bedroom builds based off of the Trix girls as well? If you would like to see that, then let me know in the comments down below, and we can create a room based off of each of these girls, kind of reflecting their powers and their different abilities. I'm also excited because we'll be able to use a mixture of like Realm of Magic and the new Enchanted by Nature expansion pack in order to create these like magical type of rooms, not only for their bedrooms if we do end up doing them, but also for the rest of the house or the Winx girls. When creating Stormy's outfits, I actually initially did purple because of her purple hair, but I fixed it after realizing her color palette mainly consists of like fuchsia colors and deep reds. Her hair is also a dark purple, but because this specific hairstyle didn't come in that deep purple swatch, I settled for doing a black hairstyle instead. And sometimes she also wears her hair straight in the show, and I was thinking of giving her an alternative hairstyle for some of her looks. Now this is a point where you'll see when I initially create her looks, I give her a purple swatch for pretty much all of her outfits because I was mixing her up with Darcy in my head, which is the last Trix girl that we'll be doing. But I did go back in and change all of her outfits to better reflect her personal style. Another random fact about Stormy is she is one of the only Trix girls that has not been in a romantic relationship. Darcy dated someone briefly in season 1, and Icy dated someone briefly in season 5. This does not mean that she never fell for anybody. She definitely had a crush on someone. In season 3, she had a crush on a character named Valtor, and she would also fight with her sisters for his attention. She also even confessed to her older sister Icy that she liked him while under a spell that was placed on her. This crush, however, was unrequited, as Valtor mentor was actually really evil and kind of stringing her and her sisters along for like his, you know, big plans. I feel like when creating Stormy's looks, I kind of went for like a slightly more casual vibe than Icy, but a little bit more out there than Darcy's looks that you'll see later on. If I'm being totally honest, I think her looks were also some of the hardest looks to put together because I feel like her style to me just didn't seem as unique as the other two. So it was a little bit hard to figure out like what to give her to make her stand out from the rest of the group besides just her color palette. And I feel like because her looks were not super unique, I don't really have a lot to say about them other than I do like how they turned out in the end. I think the hardest part was like finding stuff within her color palette that also like looked cute and matched the vibe of the entire group. And I feel like one thing that I did to make their looks feel a little bit more distinct from like the Winx girls is they do tend to have a slightly darker color palette for some of their looks. I do feel like with Stormy, I did give her like some pops of pink because her color palette consists of like deep red and fuchsia, but for the rest of the girlies, they tend to have a darker color palette when it comes to their outfits. And as we get into like the final look for Miss Stormy here, one little fun fact I want to share is it is revealed that Stormy was a 5 times Dance Witch champion, which means that when I go back in and look over some of their traits and their personality, I will be giving her the dancing skill for sure, and you will be seeing her on the dance floor. Now let's get into our last fairy, which is Darcy from the Trix. Darcy is the witch of illusions and darkness. She is the most intelligent of the group, but also devious and manipulative, and is able to use darkness to confuse her enemies. And something else to note before someone corrects me in the comments, these girls are not, you know, like traditional by blood sisters, but they are sisters in the sense that they have a shared, you know, goal with their life in terms of reaching a point of ultimate power and also in their evil intentions. I feel like Darcy is not only in the middle in terms of her age, but also in terms of her temperament. Despite, you know, her still being an evil villain, she is a little bit more calm in the way that she approaches situations as opposed to Icy, who tends to kind of go all in because of her confidence, and Stormy, he tends to go all in because of her impulsiveness. Darcy's color palette consists of lilac, dark purple, and black. She is the least aggressive of the group, and she is able to control herself a bit more than the others. She is also able to use her intelligence to discover the weakness of others easily, and she also has a personal issue with Bloom. And I'm noticing a pattern with a lot of these Trix girlies having an issue with Bloom, and Bloom is also one of the most self-absorbed girls in the Winx Club alongside Stella. I can definitely see that as the Trix members are ones who want to be like perceived as super confident and like in charge, I can see where the conflict with Bloom would come into play, as Bloom is like the leader kind of the group, and Bloom is also someone who's like very confident in herself. I do personally feel like that if I was a Winx fairy, I resonate most with Aisha out of the group, but if I was a member of the Trix, I think I would be Darcy. She is great at setting traps and creating illusions. I wouldn't say that part I necessarily agree with, but she is also the most calm and intelligent girl in the group, and her weakness is that she believes herself to be most seductive or alluring, and her favorite color is purple. Need I say more? Darcy's polar opposite out of the Winx Club is Stella, as Darcy controls the dark and she kind of focuses on deceiving others and confusing people until they can no longer see the truth, while Stella controls light and she specializes in sight and clarity, giving those the ability to see the truth in front of them. And I do feel like her having like personal issues with Bloom, and Bloom and Stella being like best friends, you can definitely see like why all of these things, you know, tend to make sense based off of their abilities and their powers. She's also different to Stella in terms of her personality. Darcy is white and she tends to keep to herself, and Stella is much more loud. However, both Stella and Darcy have a shared sort of rivalry or conflict with Musa. Musa and Stella tend to bicker quite a bit because, you know, Stella's a little bit insensitive sometimes and Musa tends to be on the more sensitive side. So despite them both being members of the Winx Club, there there is still some like distance between the two, and the strained relationship or rivalry between Darcy and Musa comes from the fact that Darcy initially had a relationship with Riven. Riven is now the boyfriend of Musa, so you can see where conflict may arise between, you know, the villains and kind of the heroes of the story when there's also a man involved getting in between them. To be clear, there probably wouldn't have been a friendship regardless, because again, the Trix and the Winx Club do not get along with each other. They're like rivals with each other. However, I do think the added effect of Musa dating someone that Darcy had been in a relationship with before kind of plays into more the fact why she has a more negative, you know, idea or negative relationship with Musa. Now, Darcy's outfits were the most fun to create, as obviously it's my favorite color. I love purple, and more specifically, I love like lavender, lilac shades of purple. So adding those elements to some of her outfits was really fun. And I think I just love her style in general, like her everyday look that I recreated. I wish that I could make it more on par with like her look from the show, because I just love it so much. It's very 70s style. It's so cute and retro vibes. I did manage to find pants that were almost exactly the same as the ones that she wore in the show. However, for like the overall everyday outfit, there were some changes I had to make because I couldn't find like a similar top. But I think out of all the outfits that I recreated, hers is definitely the most accurate out of the three. I'm definitely going to be doing research by rewatching the Winx Club. I didn't watch all of the episodes growing up, but I definitely saw episodes here and there, and I want to refamiliarize myself with the characters from the show, and also see if I can find ideas for other outfits that I could create for the girls from the Winx Club and from Trix. Let me know, out of the three girls, which of the members is your favorite in terms of the show, if you've watched it, and also let me know which one is your favorite in terms of the outfits that I created for them. As I said before, my personal favorite is definitely Darcy's, and I really hope that you all like it too. I can't wait to go back in and to add like, you know, the spellcaster or cult type for all of them, and also add all of their likes, dislikes, and things to make them more distinctive in terms of their personalities. Now, if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, consider to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, X, and Blue Sky. I have all the links to all of my platforms in the description down below, and my name is AlluringSimmer on all platforms. Another way that you can stay connected with me outside of YouTube is by joining the Discord server. That is one of the best ways to stay connected, to get notified when I'm going live on Twitch and YouTube, to get notified when a new YouTube video has been put out. That is the place where I do most of my like real-time updates. So if you would like to join the server, have a place where you can share what's going on with your Sims gameplay, share other games you're playing, and connect with other friends in the community, then join by clicking the link to the Discord in the description. Be sure to stay tuned until the end for the screenshots of the Trix girlies, and thank you so much for all the love and support for my Winx related videos. I'm super excited to announce that this week we will be working on the Winx girls home, finalizing it next week, and then the Let's Play will commence on July 30th. If you have any ideas for builds you'd like to see or ideas for this Let's Play, let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you all in the next one.